Happy Hop Toonay, or Halloween, if that's what you call it in your culture, or whatever else it is that you call it. We call it Hop Toonay here. For Hop Toonay, and a spooky ooky story, I'm going to read for you The Lament of Hos by Amy Jeffs from a book named Wild, Tales from Early Medieval Britain. Cold it is. Cold and so close that I can feel my neighbours against me, their beards and bones rotting like stacks of winter branches. I hear the voices of elves, goblins, and old gods that haunt these unhallowed halls. They whisper that I am friendless, that my old companions are dead, that my love has left me forever, that I must hope without hope until I am no more than an ache in the air. And always it is dark but for that one ray of light, now bright, now dim, which spears through the gloom. I have pressed my eye to the hole through which it passes, and seen, behind the boughs of an oak tree, the sun drag so slowly it must be yearning to die, from dark to dark, until all at once it is done, and another day has passed. And another day has passed in which my beloved has not come for me. But he will. He told me to wait. Why would he leave me here among the corpses with no news? In this ancient earth hall I am all longing. The sunlight is gone. The hood of the night promises me protection. If only I could escape and find him for myself. If only I could... I work at the hole with my nails and teeth, with the iron file of my will, despite the words of the demons that throng behind me. I do not know if I have grown thin, or if my work has wrought some change on the stone, but finger, by elbow, shoulder, and spine, I work my way to the air. Lying on the leaf mould, feeling the dark wind on my head after the long, damp stillness, makes me weep for pleasure. Lifting myself, I scoop up the leaves, young in their decay, and press them to my face. They smell of life, of change, of the joyful arc of birth to death to which I no longer belong. Out here there are no voices but those of birds, and there are no shadows but those cast by the moonlight through the branches of the tree. I raise my head and look into the canopy. A thought passes through my mind like the shadow of a crow. There were no trees here then. I have been on this ground before. The thought excites me. I rise, for I remember the path, though it has since been lost to fallen leaves. My feet carry me back through the memories, through the forest that has grown since the day I first came here, across a hard grey river, a field, a band of aspens blowing moonlit, where once there were only reeds. And then I am at the high place where the hall used to stand. The village has gone, and not a footprint of what was remains, not a woven wall or post. New buildings made of sharp stones stand here now. Only the undulation of the ground is familiar. I move till I feel myself near where he met me on that warm night. There had been dancing. I had dressed, along with a few friends I had known since childhood, in the old costumes. Mine had a beast's head and a snake coiled around its snout. I carried a leafy branch. We danced in the hall, and the warriors laughed and stamped their feet to the music of the lyre and the rhythm of our steps. I could see him watching me. There was mead to go around that night, and after the dance I had met him in the willow bed behind the hall. He had lifted the headdress from my shoulders behind the whispering reeds and kissed me. He tasted of salt and honey. It had been bliss to touch at last, after so long resisting, after so much had been promised in the exchange of glances. I am there again now, kneeling on the earth in the pounding heat of it, the smell of moss and mead in my nostrils. And I remember how we promised each other we would be together. That was what he promised me. Bring your horse to the edge of the forest. Meet me there at dawn, Hos. We will run away. I love you. I love you too, Erdte. When dawn came, I went to the margin of the trees and stood there with my horse, Biter, the one that no one else would have, but who was gentle in my care. I waited for Erdte, but there was no glimpse of him between the branches. no snap of twigs to betray his approach. No. Instead, there, I saw the warriors, who were not laughing now. They moved stealthily through the branches. They seized and struck me, their breath all drink and eels. They called me mare. They called me bitch. They slew Biter, that innocent, untamed beast, and they punished me for my crime according to their own laws. A black dog is barking at me from one of the windows, but I am no more than the memory of a wound. And now the sky bleaches at its eastern edge, and I am travelling back past the buildings, through the brightening aspens, over the field and grey river to the forest, the leaf mould, and the only place I will find rest, though I hate so much to return. I remember now how they took me to the Lord, and thence to the barrow, a resting place of some ancient king, and later the grave of criminals. The warriors made me kneel once more. The Lord stood behind me, his teeth like a splintered bone, a broadsword in his hand. As the light strengthens, I sink into my earthen dugout, my narrow grave, the others pressing in, skeletons all, some maimed, some with malice still throbbing in their ribs. And I am one of them, the condemned. And even though I know I am dead, I feel the ache of myself changing in the earth-grey gloom. And all at once I am not longing, but fury. Where was Erte when I was ready with my horse? Why did he not come? Who told the warriors where I would be waiting? I lift my fingers to the back of my skull and feel the hair cropped by the blow of a blade. I touch a wound still weeping, deeper than my life allowed. And I remember kneeling with my hands tied before me, waiting for the blow to fall and the agony when it did. I remember the knowledge that nothing would ever again be well. And now I recall that I have made this journey every sunrise for 1,000 years. Erte let them kill me. He let them bury me. He let worms devour my corpse, and as the cursed mud of the scraped-away earth clings to my bones, I know one thing. Because of him, I was executed and buried among the damned. As if paralysed on the sting of dawn, my last thought becomes a curse. Ancient is this earth hall, and deadly to those who would enter. To me, he is every living man, and I am nothing but hate.